name's Alistair, and I'm a very good friend of Dave Marrow, and Dave Marrow is someone who apparently went through an MK Ultra style Black Op military training, the works, and is apparently now here in Taunton, Somerset, as I suppose you could say part of a sleeper cell. But what worries us is, whilst we think the project may have been done and done with, there's always the possibility that he might, they might just have him on the side, waiting for another opportune time in the future, who knows. So it feels like there's a race against the clock to find out what really happened and be able to do what we can, or do what I can, to safeguard my friend, because, with just in its very nature, trauma-based mind control, that's what it is. Monarch programming, MK Ultra, the Monarch project, or as has been reported in England, Project Mannequin. So all these things, don't leave the subject much better off. Let's say, he has a lot of pain and, post-traumatic stress, memories of highly traumatic situations. So,
well, let's go to the base.
You can, and the original concept of the Manchurian candidate, sending an agent out and they have an ulterior motive, an alternative agenda, mission that's buried in their subconscious, and they're not even aware. They think they're doing something very mundane. They famously tried it with a lady called Candy Jones.
Oh, Candy Jones?
You know Candy Jones?
No, I haven't.
She was like a pin-up girl in the 50s.
Oh, right, yeah.
And they sent her off on a flight, and she went and had a cup of tea with the guy at the other end, and gave him a bunch of flowers or whatever, and then came home. And on her return, the CIA interrogated her and said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I just went and had a cup of tea with this guy." But what she wasn't aware of was that she'd been given a long secret message under hypnosis. She'd got on this flight, gone over there, had a cup of tea with this guy, who happened to be a CIA operative at the other end waiting for her. He puts her under the trance again, using hypnosis, gets the information, the secret message, and then wakes her up out of the trance afterwards, So she leaves just thinking they've had a cup of tea, when she's not even aware of the fact that of the message she's had in her head, because hypnosis is that powerful, And then they realized, hang on, this will safeguard our operatives against, if they get captured, it'll protect them against, not protect them, but protect the information.
Yeah.
Even under interrogation, you can physically torture someone and they won't have the information to hand because it's buried using hypnosis. So they thought, ideal. Now none of our agents can divulge any sensitive information because it's so far buried in their heads under hypnosis that they're not even aware of the fact that they know this information. Instead of having to send in a whole Special Forces SAS, you could just send one mind-controlled assassin who had really enhanced abilities. Because that's what the Super Soldier program's all about. It's about maximizing the potential of one human to fulfill the most, I suppose, the greatest military purpose possible, So that covers so many different aspects, from espionage to, being an assassin to, whatever it is, and even darker stuff than that. So it works, it makes sense, it's highly unethical, but of course what we know about these people who do it, American military, is they don't have that many scruples, come on.
Well, their soldiers are expendable, that's the whole point, isn't it?
And where did it come from? I've done my history. It goes back to a thing called Operation Paperclip. After World War II, the Allies went in and found all these Nazi scientists, hundreds of them, and found that actually they were researching all this kind of stuff like mind control.
It seems to.
And it worked. So yeah.
So I mean, is this situation Nazi connected, ET connected with?
I think it's big. You know, it's so big and all encompassing that I wouldn't just really kind of focus too much on, you know, whether they happen to wear a swastika or not. It's I don't think it's that clear cut.
My name's David Marrow. Basically, I have a story to tell about my experiences. Used to be called Manderson, comes from the Scottish name Manderson, Scottish royalty. Goes back to Scottish royalty and Egyptian royalty. Used to live on the Orkney Islands near Caveness, where the heraldry of the Manderson family was.
So how did you get there? What brought you to the Orkney Islands?
Yeah, I was taken there by a guy called Chris Marrow. He, bit of a nefarious character in his own way, took me there after being adopted and fostered. I was born in Royal Berkshire Hospital, lived in Newbury for a bit, went to the Orkney Islands, and yeah, I can remember being taken to castles and stuff. And
so, were you an orphan, or Newbury's close to a base called Peasmore?
This is it. I don't remember much about Peasmore apart from it was on a roundabout. The bit something kicks in there, but I'm not so sure about that. But what I do know is that before I was adopted and fostered, I was looked after by a guy called Thomas Crow. He used to be linked with the Eagles. I think he even played with them a few times. Wasn't really sure why he was there, but something to do with the Illuminati, quite high up. This woman as well looks a bit like Grotbag from that program. There's somebody at the door, like some kind of, and then the Tin Man walks in, kind of programming.
What Grotbag? What does that refer to?
It's a woman. She's like she's a witch in the cartoon series, but she's also one of these women that select certain children with certain abilities, do certain things very high up, esoteric sort of. Yeah, it's off key. I won't say too much about that because again, like, you know, it's coming out of things. But yeah, she's a selector basically, where they get young kids that maybe either adopted or things have happened to their parents or things, and she selects them basically, like star kids, indigo children, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So how does that? This is at what age you're talking about?
I'd have been about. Thomas Crow was around about the age of 2, 3. Went to the Orkney Islands about the age of 4, 5. That's where my experiences of ritual abuse began. But again, like, wasn't too sure about what was going on. I didn't really know what was happening. I knew it was bad and wrong, but as a child you don't understand these things. I began.
What age is this you're talking about?
About the age of 4, 5. Programming. I remember being drugged, hallucinating, being drugged about the age of 5 by some men. Something to do with Alice in Wonderland, like kind of getting bigger and smaller.
What happened with the men? How did that happen? Where did it
happened? Just by the house. Horries was the name of the house in the Orkney Islands, in Scotland, top of Scotland.
Can you go back before you went there? What brought you to the Orkney Islands? What was special that got you there?
It's what I don't understand, you see. Being completely honest, my real mother was allegedly deaf and dumb. She couldn't look after me. No record of a father. All very mysterious. Story is, this is quite a weird story. On my record, adoption notes, when I got them just recently, she goes missing for 9 months. This woman who's deaf and dumb, can't talk, can't speak, doesn't know nothing about anything, didn't even know what a baby was. I had to draw pictures of what a baby was to my mother, Jennifer Manderson. She didn't know what was happening to her. She goes missing for 9 months, turns up on my grandmother's doorstep with me in her stomach, and sort of no one knows what's happened to her, where she's been. She gets put in a psychiatric unit, gives birth to me. in a hospital, Royal Berkshire Hospital, and doesn't hold me or anything, just gives birth, and she's taken away, I'm taken away, and yeah, and I can't even remember what she looks like. Well, obviously, baby wouldn't, but yeah, done nothing, didn't really kind of no connection there, but that was when, after I'd kind of gone to a year and a half, sort of flashbacks, and then about 2 years, this guy called Thomas Crow comes on the scene, some guy with huskies from Canada, some kind of weird connection, but yeah, I'm not sure. You see, this is because yeah,
The Huskies from Canada. Okay, you're bringing that in.
yeah. It's almost like it reminds me of Wolverine from the X-Men, like, you know, that kind of thing. Reminds you like the science sort of. It's like sort of if Wolverine was a real person in life, like sort of in modern day, that would be Thomas Crow basically. That was who he would be. Some kind of, I don't know. I mean, from my programming, from things that I've been through, from my experiences, my dissociation, and my memories coming back, something to do with life extension technology, sort of Nazi sort of Uberman programming, kind of using with the swastika. Used to be used as a symbol of regeneration. Used to be that way around, and they turned it round. But all that to do with programming and sort of a bit like under hypnosis, trauma-based programming.
So let's get back to your childhood at the orphanage. You had terrible experiences there. Can you talk about that?
They tried to sacrifice me at some point around the age of between 4 and 6. Some men came round. A ritual sacrifice. I was made to stare at the sun whilst they tried to put me on a crucifix and sacrifice me, some kind of ritual sacrifice.
In what way did they try and fail?
I don't know how they failed. I don't know if it was raided, or I was also there was sexual abuse going on as well. I don't know. I don't quite understand how I'm still here. I actually do think I died at one point and something happened because I'm still here. Sounds a bit strange, I know, but I went. There was, all I can remember is being pulled up to the cross, and somehow someone intervened or something, and don't know. I'm not sure. I can't.
Where was this?
This was on the Orkney Islands.
Can you name the school or the home? Or you
There's a
mentioned
place
the
called
Scout.
Horries, and there's a place called the Scarab Bray, which is an ancient, like there's lots of archaeology. Yeah, it's quite blurry, sort of, because I was drugged and stuff
Yeah.
as well.
You mentioned that this was a scandal in the early 90s. Was the police involved? Were there raids involved?
CID, Child Protection Social Services, raided the island looking for a satanic paedophile network. Labour Party threw it out as a witch hunt, as a myth, even though, well, due to lack of evidence, even though there were countless testimonies.
Can you mention any of those, or the details?
Well, I was made to drink goat's blood.
In what sort of circumstances?
Well, on one particular occasion, yeah, my father took a cup and a knife out into the garden, and
This is your adopted father?
my adopted father, yeah, he took a knife and a cup out into the garden and called me out with a smile on his face, quite a weird smile on his face. Wasn't too impressed by it. And he said, "Come here, Dave." And there's two guys holding this goat. It's the first time it happened a couple of times, about 3 or 4 times. And basically he slit the goat's throat in front of me. Can't be more than 7 years old at this point. And blood starts pouring out. He fills the cup with blood. I'm forced to drink it, then I black out, pass out, traumatized. Happened a few times. Wasn't quite sure why they were doing it, but then later on I came to find out that it was to do with ritual abuse.
So this sacrifice, like, what happened?
It's more than one occasion. It's to do with children. Lots of children.
How many?
There was a sexual ritual kind of thing went on once. I want to go too much into the details of it, but there's about 30 or 40 children on the island. It's all pretty nasty stuff. Again, the sacrifices, don't know, I'm not sure, but from my memories, they tried to sacrifice me. It was animal sacrifices, made to look at dead animals, repetitive abuse, from being beaten about to sexual abuse to
with how many people? What sort of, how many?
Well, basically, coming back a bit further, I was adopted into an incest family. We hear stories about this all the time, but I mean, I knew this was going on long before I read anything about these kind of things. I thought I was kind of unique in this situation, and that was always part of the problem. But I was in an incest family. Again, like, embarrassed as I was, when I got older and realised that what I was going through was wrong, I realised I had to do something about it, and I tried. Yeah.
So how were you aware of these things?
From an early age, I kind of questioned things. I had a very inquisitive mind, very sort of scientifical, inquisitive mind. Kind of thought that doesn't add up, and what are they doing, and what are they doing, and why is that happening, and why are they doing that, and what is this, and kind of always a bit unsure, very distancing myself from everything, always walking a few steps behind my family when they're walking down the street, kind of sort of watching them and sort of thinking I'm not sure about this. So
you were aware that this was a dangerous situation for you from the word go?
Well, yeah, I just kind of thought, you know, a couple of adopted black kids, I mean, me being black and my family being white, which is not a problem, but on the Orkney Islands, kind of out the way, and the only neighbours, like, got one neighbour next to us, and the next neighbour's about a mile away.
Yeah.
Sort of everything out the way, and all this abuse going on and everything. I was like, whoa, you know, this is all a bit of a weird setup.
So you were, in many respects, placed into this family far away.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, there were times where, you know, I bonded with the family, as you would. That's the deception, that's part of the programming, so that when you get older they can access that part of your mind that makes you think that nothing even happened. Nothing ever happened. But as you get older, things come to the...
What sort of age are you saying when you get older?
Get to about the age of sort of 16, 17. That's when I started getting memories back, asking questions about, asking my father questions, saying, you know, what went on, it's all over the papers.
How did you survive that, and what was involved?
Dissociation.
Yeah.
Dissociative identity disorder. Notice, like, I look down, like a visor comes down. Basically, somehow I managed to develop an ability when I was either being abused or beaten about or made to do something where I just, like, part of me just broke off, or I'd stare at a picture on the wall or a pattern or a brick or something, and that would be my focus, and I'd just kind of take a picture, and that would basically be what I would do when something bad was happening. Because it happened so frequently, I developed a coping mechanism, and that's how I survived, dissociated, and yeah, just that was my coping mechanism.
So you're mentioning some kind of ritual involving goat's blood and stuff like that. Can you talk more about that? What was that for? Do you know what it was for? What was it about?
There was a lot of occult stuff going on in the family, a lot of magic. I think a lot of it was to kind of make me superstitious, get me into mysticism, believing in fantasy, non-reality, kind of Alice in Wonderland, voodoo, witchcraft, kind of Harry Potter kind of nonsense, that are rubbish, brought up or raised on nonsense. And
what do you mean by nonsense?
Well, just like, I'm not saying it's nonsense, I'm saying it's like, it wasn't... You see a film, yeah? It's fiction, and you have reality, and that's like, you know, bread, butter, water, basic stuff.
Yeah.
And my dad and family kind of brought me up on stuff that, as much as I was dissociating already, it's just filling my mind with, you know, may as well be up there, you know, anywhere.
Yeah.
Kind of. Oh, I can even remember amazing like situations where I'm basically eating earth or licking potatoes, trying to ground myself, you know, just trying to cover my face in mud, just trying to keep 2 feet on the ground. Because one, I've been drugged. 2, my head's being pumped for all this stuff. 3, I'm been dissociating, and yeah, trying to keep 2 feet on the ground. A lot of my friends say, Dave, you're a bit of a space cadet. I was like, well, no, I'm not a space cadet, but that initial core foundations of reality was never there. Well, it was there for the first few years of my life, but it got
So are you
taken
dealing
away.
with, when you said space cadet, I mean, are you dealing with ETs, greys, aliens, any of that come into things at all?
Later on, I lived in Bristol for a while. Later on, that all started. First experiences. Lived in Bristol, my first abduction experience. I'm living in a house in Bristol, in Southville, with a guy called Marcus. And
What age were you not then?
21, 20, about 20. That's when I first started remembering, that's when the first experience happened. I'm basically in this house in Southville, guy called Marcus, age 20. I goes to bed one night after meeting someone. He said I was going to be taken, and he claimed to be an extraterrestrial. Yeah, that's all coming back now. Yeah, claimed to be an extraterrestrial guy.
So how does a human being appear to be an extraterrestrial?
He said that he's from the planet Sirius, B or Sirius, something like that. Claimed to be from another planet, and I didn't believe him. I thought, nah, you know, you're a human being. His face looked a bit funny, like kind of lopsided. Strange thing is, I'm working at Pizza Hut in Bristol. I just want to tell this bit; it's important. Working in Bristol in Pizza Hut, and this guy walks in with a bottle of wine, bit drunk. Thought, yeah, this guy looks a bit crazy, you know, a bit off the rails, and I get him to sit down and drink some coffee and take his order. He says, think of 3 questions, and I give you 3 answers. And I come back, and 2 of the questions he wouldn't know the answer to, and he answers all 3 questions, straight like that. I then go to take another order. And he says, I get the order wrong, so I have to get the supervisor to swipe the card. And he basically says, don't worry, just type in my name, this guy walks in that claims to be an extraterrestrial. Strange enough, I type in his name, Russell, access all areas, can do whatever I want with the computer. I was like, okay, it's a bit freaky. He then says, you don't believe me, I'm an extraterrestrial, not a lot I can't do. And he says, he pulls out 3 CDs out of his bag and says, pick any pub in Bristol, we walk in, from the minute we walk through the door, the first track from each of these CDs, 80 from the 80s, these CDs, will start playing. So I meet him after work, I choose the pub, I walk in, bang, all 3 tracks start playing. Get a bit freaked out. Says you're going to be taken. So there's a war between the negative and positive extraterrestrials. And he says,
Did he detail who's negative and who's positive?
talked about greys. That's what he mainly said, greys. But he specifically said some are negative, some are positive.
Does it
He said
mean
that
some of the greys are negative and positive?
he said that basically the negative extraterrestrials were controlling the American government. That's what he was saying, basically.
And by implication, the government here.
The sort of global government kind of running things, pulling strings at the top. Sort of like a superior race manipulating the human race, our kind of, this planet.
So what about this man? What kind of extraterrestrial was he? Did he say? Or was he,
I didn't believe him. I didn't honestly believe him. I thought he was talking rubbish. But strangely enough, about 2 weeks later, I move house, lose my job, because I went a bit, not crazy, but I kind of thought, well, you know, it's all a bit spinny. Some guys just show me a load of stuff that I ain't even seen David Blaine or no one like that do. Seen nothing like that. And I goes to bed one night, and I wake up, paralysed, can't move. There's white lights everywhere, bright lights everywhere. My body lifts up. Just before I hit the ceiling, everything goes black. Next thing I can remember, falling back into my bed on top of the covers, and there's something moving about in my back. I can still feel it now sometimes.
It's still there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Feels all hot round here as
You
well.
mentioned on the phone some kind of life form, like a symbiont out of the TV series Stargate.
Yeah, yeah, like, but bigger. And, yeah, probably more than one entity.
Filming? Right, what we're doing in the room at the moment is checking for background RF radiation from Wi-Fi, what have you. We're on sensitivity 6. We're using a Allen broadband zap checker from the States, which we use to basically try and find if we have implants in the body which transmit signals. Okay, here we are again on the clear room, sensitivity 6. Let's go around the room. Quite stable. Got a slight flash there, nothing major. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
And no interference from the camera?
None whatsoever. Right, I'm going to go up to sensitivity 8 now. A little bit of background radiation. Slight waver there. You can see it's like bouncing up a little bit as I move around the room. There you go. Nothing major. That's on 8. That's pretty high, pretty sensitive. Go down to 6 again. A little bit of background radiation. Nothing major in the room. Right, Dave, do you want to step in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, we're going to go to sensitivity 6, which we're here, and it's gone up to 40. Okay, we'll pull it away. Okay, put it back again. Transmit again. Okay, now we're going to go up to 8. And that is off the scale, the machine is vibrating. Can you feel that, Dave? Yeah, okay, we'll pull away. We're back down to 20 again. Back up to the spine. Way up to 100. Let's drop it down to sensitivity 6.
We go up and then down the body?
Up. We're going to go down the body. That's on sensitivity 8. And let's go back down. Pretty high again. Go down, that drops right off to nothing. Still on sensitivity 8. Go even further down, light blip there. Let's go back up to the spine. Okay, here we go again. Right back up there. Up the back. Oh, you've got another wound there, another one there. Another one there. Well, that's off the scale, that one. That one's off the scale.
Where the puncture marks are.
Yep, yep, and we pull around.
Which his GP claims are chicken pox scars.
Okay.
Despite never having had chicken pox.
Yeah.
So the two hot spots are...
Two hot spots. Base. Oh, we've got a hot spot here. Now this is. I'm now on log, which is basically to pinpoint anything that's around. The machine's vibrating in my hand. There you go. We've got transmission there. Now, what we do with log, basically, it's very distinct. It's in a point where a linear will sweep. Okay, we'll go back over to linear on 4. Okay, signal on 4, signal on 6. So now you see what you've got intermittent frequency patterns on 6. And if we go up to 8, we're off the scale again.
It's important to mention that he has no phone in his pocket, neither do we. No electronic devices, and yet up here by these mysterious,
scars,
inexplicable, what look like keyhole surgery scars.
Okay, let's go down the body again. Okay,
that's worth trying in the head and along the jaw.
Okay, okay, we'll go down to the head. We'll go down.
Well, did that happen the first time?
Yeah, they use like dark energy to penetrate light or organisms or humans. That's how they enter without creating a wound in some situations. Other things, it's advanced extraterrestrial technology.
When you say dark energy, what sort of thing are you talking about? Fluidic black energy?
Like a symbiote, a bit like on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like that kind of, sort of like Venom and Carnage. Yeah, all very sinister. But this thing that went into me was like a sort of, a bit like on Stargate, like a sort of dandelion-shaped sort of the head and the bottom, some kind of weird creature, and another thing went down my nose again with the dark energy. So it could enter like a sort of
describe those
teleport.
things?
centipede, reptilian kind of sort of snake-like.
Snake-like.
I don't want to come into the cliches.
Okay.
But this was like very similar to like a dandelion-looking thing, and the other thing like a sort of dinosaur head, but like sort of centipede with lots of legs, and like, very nasty creature. Yeah, crazy. Not very nice. Not very nice. No, kind of went down me after. Yeah.
So these are in the etheric. They're not physically a physical thing. They're like an energy form.
It didn't look like it. It looked like they were sort of there.
Under what circumstances was this happening? Were you abducted in a spacecraft or at home?
The first time I thought, yeah, I've been taken by extraterrestrials. That was the cliche thought that came into my mind.
So what made you think that?
What I say is, go forward a little bit. I got examined by a doctor, and I've been treated for amnesia just before, and he said, have you ever been in a car crash or had an accident, Dave, or damaged your back in any way? I was like, well, no, not that I recall. And he said, well, you've suffered a massive trauma to your back and body and your spine. I was like, well, I don't remember anything. I was like, well, you have amnesia, David. I was like, well, okay. Take off my shirt, examines me, says, yeah, you've suffered a trauma, you can't walk properly, you're limping, your back's out of place. I goes upstairs with a shaver, this is the interesting part, with a shaver to take a shave, my beard and all that. Turn on the shaving light, turn around, look at my back, and there's 3 perfect circular scar marks. One there, like sort of mid-back, and one to the like other side.
What do you mean one there? On each shoulder?
Just like, kind of, imagine like, that's my back here, like one muscle there, spine in the middle, one there, and one there. The abduction, about the age of 20, the examination, about the age of 24, 25, the amnesia treatment started about the age of 25, but when I was shaving and looked at my back, started getting memories back of being in a military hospital. All these like military surgeons around, green canvas, like something like MASH almost, something like a sort of
a field hospital.
Yeah, definitely. Now, yeah, this is it. This is it. Some kind of base or something, like these kind of set up hospitals. I don't know, man. Like, not the first time I remember being in a military hospital. I remember having something inserted into the base of my spine, metallic. Yeah, that is quite frightening. That's quite frightening, actually.
At what point did you have this thing inserted? I mean,
time's difficult, you know.
I mean, you mentioned aliens. What were they like? Can you remember anything about what they were, or what?
I remember this, like, sort of demonic-looking sort of entity sitting on my chest, staring at me. I just came out of hospital. I was living in Rockwell Green in Wellington, and it sat on my chest. And for some reason, I thought the only way I'm going to get out of this if I don't show fear. And it looks at me. I look back at it, sort of like I'm paralysed, can't move. I'm sort of looking at it, and it sort of flees off. And that's when I remember. About a week before I saw that entity in Rockwell Green, I must have been about 23, 22, and I remember seeing a bad scientist. What I mean by bad scientist, I didn't know he was a bad scientist then, but what led on to the events was why they put me under hypnosis. I remember being told to count to 10, you start to wake up.
When did this happen? What circumstances? Where were you when this was happening?
Around Wellington and Taunton.
Was this at home, or were you taken to a lab, or
some of it was done in my home. The abduction was somewhere else, taken somewhere.
By whom? How?
I believe it's orchestrated by my father. I believe that a lot of it was orchestrated by my father. My father was merchant navy. There were members of MI6 in the family, military intelligence.
When you say there were members of MI6 in the family, are you saying that your adopted family with MI6?
Adopted family had connections.
And how did you know that? And what sort of a membership of MI6?
I was told by my father there was a guy in my family who was MI6, who was thrown from a building, was in the papers, it's going back years.
Can you mention that? Anybody we could look that up? What sort of papers? What era? What's the scandal?
I suppose I don't remember the details quite that clearly. It was a great uncle, something to do with he knew too much, and he was thrown out of a building, mysterious circumstances. It had been around, say, 1960, 1970.
Involving what kind of scandal? Is there a name you can put onto this at
Williams, I think. Williams was the name. There was two sides of the family. There was the Liddells and the Williams. And
this is your adopted family?
Adopted family, yeah, adopted family. Going back to the military hospital, just as I'm talking about that now, some more memories come back. It was actually a base.
Which hospital? Where?
Military, it's like they set it up, this hospital, like a sort of green canvas. And I was on my back, facing down through like a hole, like that, and they're operating on my back.
Yeah.
I remember doing missions. Yeah.
Can you mention the base you're at? Does it a number, any detail at all?
What can I say?
I mean, what sort of region of the country are we talking about?
I don't even know if it was in this country. I don't even know. I even know that far.
So do you remember travel to and from there?
I just remember being taken bits like black. Bearing in mind, a lot of it was done under hypnosis, where told to count to 10, people clicking their fingers, while I developed complex post-traumatic stress from people clicking their fingers and putting me into trance, people calling out post-traumatic suggestions, always being put into a trance. Still now, it's happening now. And
when you say it's happening now, has it happened this
not
week?
right this moment,
yeah.
But like always something, if a click goes off or someone says a certain word or 1 sugar or 2 sugars, that's a trigger.
Yeah.
Bad boy as well, that's a trigger, that's a suggestion.
So I mean, if I was to say, would you be on mission now with this interview? What's made you come out with this information now? What's brought this?
I guess like when it comes to children being used for this nonsense, which is what I call it, interfering with people's lives, designing on people's liberty, taking away people's human rights, interfering with people's development, growth, you know, it's wrong, man, it's wrong, it shouldn't happen, it's bad, there's no excuse for it, you know, it's quite simple. They've taken away my ability to, well, live in society in a sense where, I don't know, I just think it's wrong, man. I just think it's like someone should be allowed to grow and develop and live their life with a certain amount of influence and kind of help and whatever, but not in the way it happened to my life. Sorry, I'm experiencing something like I'm experiencing some kind of attack. Sorry,
You think we've got company?
Don't know. I sense things like that's another reason why I think they chose me, because quite a powerful psychic, sort of sensitive. And the word psychic, I don't mean that in a kind of tarot cards, kind of clairvoyant. I don't mean that.
Wider perceiver.
Yeah, someone kind of a bit more open, exposed to things, sensitive, able to kind of see into the truth of things in a different way, you know, kind of see into something. Or I've been able to remote view for a little while, and not to mass degrees.
Is that were you trained in remote viewing, or did you just?
So again, one thing I will say, and I don't want to kind of say out of context, I don't remember as much as some of the other testimonies that I've heard. My memories are limited. What I will say is that I know there was extensive use of drugs on me, radiation, they used electric shock treatment on me, not treatment, but electric shock on me, drugs, hypnosis.
All for what?
Create a soldier, a killer, an assassin. I won't even say a soldier, just a killer. Someone they can manipulate, control, someone they could use, someone they could use.
How are you currently under control, or? Do you?
I'm a sleeper.
Yeah.
No, it's like I'm down like this. It's like like a dark cloud comes over.
This is why you're not looking straight to the camera that much.
I find it difficult. My mother had the same problem.
Is that perhaps because of an overseer would be above you?
It's like a gun pointed in my head. That's what
Yeah.
it feels like. Like someone saying, "You talk about this stuff. You know, you're a dead man."
Yeah.
Like a gun pointed in my face. That's why. And it's like, who can stare a gun in the face?
Yeah.
You ever tried doing that?
No.
No. This is it. It's not that I'm
I've
afraid.
had a few pulled on me in my time.
Hmm?
I've had a few pulled on me.
I bet you have.
Yeah.
Yeah. This like centipede-like thing. Combination of the two. I think combination of the two. I'd say more to do with the military side of things. My lab kind of military abduction. I know I've had encounters with things I'd say weren't human. My only problem with that, one looks a bit like a sort of hordeling thing. One thing was like a sort of horns and like sat on my chest, right here on my chest, like a hordeling sort of thing. No tail, not like a sort of devil, but kind of looking at me. Well, just like a sort of impish, like sort of looked quite fictional. But when it was looking at me, I was like staring at it. Nighttime, paralysed, awake, eyes open, can't move. Again, I thought, is that just night terror? But there's physical evidence, you see. Physical evidence on my body. Burn marks, scar marks, the list goes on, that I can't account for in any other way, apart from these experiences I've had at night or my abductions and stuff. So I'm sort of thinking, it's either, there's two ways of looking at it, either something like that was actually going on, which is more what my gut feeling tells me, or I was made to believe that and they were humans doing this. But I would say it's a combination of the two.
So,
Working with extraterrestrials, working with humans, as in us being subservient to a...
What kind of extraterrestrials, and how do you know they're extraterrestrials? Just non-humans?
Non-humans. What I mean
Tall,
by... Yeah.
short, fat? What sort of description are you talking about?
Small, a lot of them. Quite small.
So how many are you talking about? 5, 10, a group of 100? A lot?
When I've had these experiences, when that centipede entered me, like sort of dinosaur, like centipede type thing.
Dinosaur type head, but a centipede body?
Reptilian sort of head, like sort of thing. But there were humans as well there. My brain was being operated on and stuff, and sounds a bit crazy, but yeah, they mucked about with my brain, like tension here. You remember blood coming out my nose and stuff, and coughing up bits of brain and stuff, and all kinds. Yeah. It's just a bit that I've been suppressing for years. I've seen it about 3 times, maybe 4, where I've literally like hulked out markings on my leg. There's a line there. It goes black to white. That gets darker when I go into water, but sometimes when I get angry, that gets really dark. On both legs, same marking.
Could you describe that again?
It's like that my leg there, it's like light there, and dark there goes right down to the bottom. I don't know what it is, but when I get stressed and angry, it gets darker. When I go into water, it gets darker. Can you see that? And basically, people have witnessed my arms getting bigger, muscles getting bigger, some kind of super like enhancement thing. I'm not sure. I've tried to suppress it because my way of dealing with things.
That's hulking out, as you say.
Yeah, hulking out. Yeah, literally hulking out, like arms getting bigger. Even my boxing trainer years ago said that I had the hardest punch he'd ever seen. No one ever hit like that. Someone of my age actually said that to me. He would clarify if I spoke to him. Said no one hits like that. You hit like Mike Tyson hits at the age of 15. I can remember my psychologist talking to me and saying, we don't know where you get your strength from, David, where you get your strength from. we've given you 3 tablets that would knock most people out for 3 days.
Yeah.
And it's knocked you out for about 30 seconds, and you're...
Do you know the tablets that they gave you?
Don't know what they were, but they said he'd give them to people and they're out cold for 3 days. And they ain't going nowhere.
There are some people who've got an ability to resist that.
Well, this is it. And that wasn't just the context of what she meant, but she actually said she wanted to know who my father was. CPN said you can blast out energies as well. You seem to be able to, like, give off some kind of energy that knocks people down.
Yeah. Is that a defensive energy?
I think it is when I'm threatened, when I feel threatened. I can remember being part of a sleeper cell at Burnworthy.
This is Burnworthy Manor. And what's interesting is Dave said he remembered a lot of the activities happened, and there was a lake down near the woods. Now, I came down here the other day with Dave, and we walked down a track, and he said, yeah, the lake's down there. But we couldn't see the lake. It wasn't until I got on Google Maps and had a little look, and yeah, aerial. So I looked and I thought, right, there's the manor house coming down here past the woods. And then we descended down this track, and looking on Google Maps, sure enough, there is a lake in the woods. And
where is this lake?
So it's just down this track to the left.
He said something about a lake and some kind of...
So yeah, he talks about some SAS guy. He was also a ski instructor. I think he was like mountaineering specialist. He said that this guy did a lot of the Black Ops training and was putting them through their paces in these woods here. But yeah, this is where it, and he remembers other things. He said that he remembers something quite traumatic happening, but someone actually died during one of these Black Ops training things in the lake. He thinks they drowned. What would happen, you know, they'd have missing time one night. They'd be triggered to maybe get up out of their beds in the middle of the night in a hypnotic state. They'd go outside, they'd be met by one of the operatives on one of these missions. They'd be picked up, they'd be taken to somewhere like here, maybe at night, maybe, you know, whenever. And yeah, that's when they do all of their training. But then when they wake up in the morning, they'd feel physically knackered and really tired, but have no memory of what happened during the night. They might even have cuts or bruises, but they'd be explained away somehow, you know. You've got to remember that, well, from the point of view of my friend, what I think has happened is his father has put him through this, adopted him, and then put him through this whole thing. And if you're adept at hypnosis, then you don't really need to explain yourself to the close people around you, because you've probably been messing with their heads as well. So I'm talking this guy's wife, you know, it's a case of you see nothing here, there's nothing to see here, you know. She might not necessarily, although apparently she did say in front of, is either a doctor or social worker, she actually said, yeah, David has been a victim of satanic ritual abuse. Taking these people's soul and actually attaching negative entities to their aura, you know, to...
Now, what do you mean by adding entities to the aura? I mean, one of the things he discusses is this sort of millipede thing with a reptilian's head on it.
Now, that's something I've heard before from other things.
And you mentioned...
I personally couldn't comment what that is, and whether that is...
Who have you heard it with
from
before?
A vivid... I went to another hotspot in the country for mind control, which is supposedly Totnes in Devon again. And when I went there, I was actually going to the Totnes Truth Festival, which is a very interesting event. I met David Shaler, I met Annie McCon, MI5 whistleblowers. Just wanted to see what they had to say as well. And I met a lady who was psychic. I'm quite intuitive myself. I was stopped by a tramp who was asking, he wasn't begging, he said, look, do you want to buy this picture? And for £1. So I thought, oh, fair play, mate. what's the picture? And it looked like, can't remember the guy's name now, but the guy who designed the aliens on the film Alien,
Oh,
as in
right.
Ridley Scott's Alien.
Yeah.
They looked very similar, you know, that kind of sleek. And he said, but not exactly the same. But very organic. I mean, beautifully drawn as well. And he said, these are the aliens that come out of me. And there was something inside me that just said, okay. So I said, all right, I've heard that before. And when I pushed him, I'll cut a long story short, but when I actually asked him, I'm careful not to lead these people with my inquiries. When I asked this guy, it turns out, yeah, all of these familiar symptoms that show up in all of these people's stories is, yeah, the family had connections with the military, family had connections with Freemasonry, he was adopted, and what else did I find out about this guy? He heard voices, voice-to-skull technology.
Yeah.
But we're not talking delusional. He's saying he recognizes people's voices, or, you know, like you can hear a German accent or something in the background.
But
And what this is, as far as I'm aware,
Yeah.
is this voice-to-skull technology, you know, using psychotronics, using various different means. You can actually have people have oral hallucinations. They hear sound in their own heads.
There's a place called Burnworthy, just outside Wellington, near Cypher House.
Yeah.
Ex MI6 code-breaking Cypher place. Yeah, interesting.
What do you mean X MI6? Surely MI6 is never X.
No, this what I mean. They've knocked it down now.
Well, MI6.
It's been it's been knocked down. You can still read about it on the internet. Burnworthy, Cypher House, Comstock. I've got some notes. Yeah.
So were you involved with deciphering things?
I don't think so. I think that's just where they train me in, like ninjutsu, martial arts.
Have you been on missions? Can you talk about anything like that?
I remember getting a memory back, waking up one night, massive memory floods back. I'm running, fall over, running, fall over. There's an explosion. I get up, and then fall over and black out. I think I'm being shot at, and I'm not sure exactly. I'm not sure.
Is this in the day or the night?
Daytime.
Hot climate, wet climate,
Quite warm, quite hot.
desert?
No, there's trees around and grass.
What sort of trees?
Fern trees, I think. Fern, something like
Yeah.
that. Pine trees.
Packed forest or sparse forest, open fields?
I don't know. It could have had something to do with, for some reason, I remember the next memory after blacking out, I wake up by a MiG aircraft, I don't know what type, and then I go off in the MiG.
What kind of shape was the aircraft? Old and clunky or
No, it's
flashy
like
and modern?
yeah, a MiG F-18, F-16, something like that, interceptor. All I can remember was being a bit off my face as well, like drunk, almost
Yeah.
feeling quite drunken. And don't want to sound bad or anything, but wherever was happening there, we were losing. In some way, yeah. I wasn't the only one there, and whatever was
You were
happening.
part of
but
a team or
there was someone else with me as a girl.
what sort of girl?
I don't
Tall
want to talk
girl?
about her because she wants to stay out of this. She can back up my story in many ways.
Not mentioning any names, but are we talking blonde, brunette, tall,
Blonde girl. I'm not mentioning her name.
English, American?
English, yeah. Again, she relates to royalty through her blood family, has similar hulking out experiences. I hear her clicking in her head where she thinks she's got an implant. She was at Barronworthy. Blonde hair. She knows Thomas Crow as well. She was part of the same project. Some kind of to do with enlightenment, life extension technology,
Yes.
illumination, to do with the brain, kind of using 100% of the brain or more of the brain than normal, getting me to do that. Being in a white light room, everything's white light, bright, and something to do with being able to regenerate, being able to sort of heal bones, heal body.
In
Get
what
rid
way
of-
do you regenerate?
I've healed bones. I focus on healing, like a sort of healing
And
energy.
what sort of speed of healing are you talking about? Something that doesn't...
Seconds.
Sec-
Seconds. You have been, yeah.
So what kind of a wound? Have you broken a leg and just... How have you done that? Have you put your hand over it, or you just thought about it, re-imaged it?
Just focus on like love or positivity, like something. There might be a song like a DJ Shadow song or something, or a Uncle song or something, or a classical song, something that really you feel connection with. It's all about vibrations and harmonics.
You connect with the song.
You connect with it, and then literally, like your body just, well, yeah, you can kind of.
So you could be in an injured state, or have you been in an injured state where you...
I have been in an injured state and healed, but ever since this entity, not been able to get rid of it, trying to get rid of it.
You've still got the entity with you?
There is something I can feel here.
Yeah, it's moving?
Yeah, it is. And if I thought about it too much, I'd get frightened. I would get scared.
Yeah.
But I've chosen not to.
How mobile is the entity?
Sorry, what's that?
How mobile is it? Does it move?
Comes out my body sometimes and comes back in.
In what way does it come out of the body?
Looks like a sort of watery, like sort of this particular thing that I've seen. It could be etherical, but I've seen it, I feel it. It's like kind of...
Has it got a lot of tentacles?
Nah, it's more like one's dark that I've seen. It comes out, it's got red dots, like a sort of cloud of dark energy. Another one's like a sort of watery type plasma, sort of saline, sort of like looking thing. Yeah, like sort of
almost like a colourless, like a lot of the colourless life forms in the sea.
Very to do with that, very to do with the sea. There's a big connection with water in me, to do with orca.
Okay.
You see, they don't care, man. They're nasty people, they don't care, they don't give two hoots. They don't care. They don't care who they mess over, they don't care what they do, they don't care who they abuse, they don't care who's like...
It implies that they can get away with anything they can do. It implies they can get away scot-free.
Because they're connected.
With who?
Government.
What? Who in the government?
They infiltrate surgeries, schools, doctors' clinics.
Do they have an organisation?
Oh yeah.
What name?
I've mentioned the L word, the Illuminati. Yeah.
The Illuminati.
Only memory I've got of it is I'm in an aircraft hangar, up in the air, and there's about 15 of us soldiers.
So you're in uniform?
Yeah, like a vest and camo gear, like maybe a shirt. I think it was a vest, and basically they haven't got parachutes. They say something like a trigger, and we just leap out, and I hulk out midair, hit the floor, and just go mental, absolutely hulk out, like just go absolutely mental.
What sort of height are you dropping from?
Not that high, a few feet, a few hundred feet.
You just run out of the back of a transport aircraft,
like,
a Hercules or something?
Like a Hercules, yeah, just like a Hercules, yeah. It was a Hercules, yeah, but just like that, yeah. Jump out, there's a few of us like jumping out. Some reason we don't need parachutes. I don't know why we don't need parachutes, but sounds crazy, I know. But hulk out, and don't know, man. That was the mission. That's the other part of the mission.
Which mission was it?
The one I'm talking about running and falling over, that was the beginning. I think it is anyway, where I'm literally, I jump out, hangar, hulk out sort of halfway down. There's trees, there's trees. Yeah, I was coming back now. There's trees, like pine trees or some kind of tree, and could have been in Canada, I'm not sure. But
you mentioned Canada before. Yeah.
Could have been in Canada.
Do you think that was for training?
Could have been. They're probably trying out something. From talking to you and from my notes and from my memories and writing things down and speaking to other people that were on this go, my theory is that they're still working on me. I've woken up with burn marks still and like plasters where needles have been in my arm, and like woke up hulking out burn marks on my fingers, and like
Is that from an electrical stimulus? Or?
No, I think it. I'll say it. I'm not afraid. I may as well blow the whistle. There's a guy called Dr. Krause, a memory Dr. Krause, some kind of memory came back in the name Dr. Krause, some guy that deals with radiation. They've used radiation on me, right in my eyes, right in
And what base
my
is
body.
this? Where was this done?
Some of it's done in this house, but anyway, I can't talk about that because, yeah.
So this is ongoing as we
Still
speak.
still happening now.
So you're still on mission, so to speak.
Not consentfully, no, not consentfully, no.
Do you think that you've been selected to maybe fight another form of being which is requiring superhuman abilities to fight them?
Yes. How do I feel about that? I don't know.
Have you encountered any of those beings?
Yes.
When you mentioned in the fight that wasn't going well, was that here or somewhere else? Was it through a Stargate, for instance?
Interesting you say that, because I have accessed plans and information about starships and stargates. I know a lot of it's to do with mathematics. Also talks about that
What do
in
you
the book.
mean stargates and spaceships? What do you mean you've been seeing plans for that?
There was the pyramids in Egypt, temples off the coast of Japan, Book of Enki, the Anunnaki. They, in mathematics, the pi symbol, the square root symbol, a lot of that is the basic constructions of advanced technology. A lot of people just think adding numbers and plus signs and minuses, but a lot of that, like the pi sign, Pythagoras, a lot of that Pyra, Hydra, a lot of that symbolism is very, very advanced. The Egyptians were very advanced, the Greeks were very advanced, and a lot of that we're seeing now in programmees having this knowledge.
What do you mean advanced in what?
Mathematics that's taught in schools
The
is
language?
Yeah.
Three-dimensional, hyperdimensional symbology?
Yes, definitely, yes. There is, mathematics is the language of the universe, the matrix, the universal matrix of consciousness.
We're talking matrix construction.
Yes. Divine matrix, whatever
The
you want to call
creation
it.
of realities.
Yes. Almost like a counterfeit reality where symbolism governs the mind and mathematics is the code of consciousness.
So we're talking about reality management here.
Yes. And the ability to create something that someone can oversee, to have power over something, to make someone feel powerful. Matrix, reality, again, it's all very, very advanced. I'd say that whoever created this design on our liberty, the powers that be, I think ultimately they need us more than we need them.